Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the CFL DFS video for week 18 if you're joining me for the very first time. First of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how this video will be structured. We'll be going over my CFL DFS sheet for week number 18, talking through all the relevant players, whether or not I would consider them a GPP option, a cash game option, or a GPP paydown option. And then I'll also be going over whether or not I'll be in line with the field on those players. Overweight, underweight, slightly overweight, slightly underweight. Keep in mind that there are only 3 games this week, so we have 3 teams that are on bye. So get a little bit more creative with your lineups just in general. And with that being said, we'll get right into it. We're going to start off with the Roughriders. We got Trevor Harris at quarterback. He's at $9,200. I have him listed as a GPP option. Probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him this week overall. I definitely do like him, especially with that wide receiver room getting more healthy. And then their short yardage quarterback, Tommy Stevens, is going to be out this week due to a knee injury. So that could impact the passing game as well as the running game. So more touchdown volume to go around for other players, whether that's AJ Alouette in the run game or potentially a wide receiver in the receiving game. So definitely do like the upside of this team just in general. And with that being said, AJ Alouette, a running back, $9,300. GPP option, I do have him listed as slightly overweight this week, mainly due to that touching upside with Tommy Stevens missing this week. And then we have Thomas Bertrand Hutton. Once again, he's at $6,000. Was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to his leg injury. Technically, his list is available. He was listed as available last week as well, but he was not added to the active roster. So we'll see if he's the backup this week or if they stick with Mario Anderson. And then we move down to wide receiver with Mario Alford. He's at $3,000. Was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to a hip injury, but is technically listed as available. I believe he was technically a healthy scratch last week, which was pretty interesting. Sean Bain Jr. did handle the return duties last week, so we'll see whether or not Mario Alford is active for this game or not. And then we're going to jump down to Keon Schaefer-Baker. He's at $2,500. He was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to that leg injury. Is technically listed as available. We'll see whether or not he's back this week or not. If he's able to go at $2,500, I would consider him a viable paydown option. Probably going to be in line with the field on him, maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field. And then in terms of the other wide receivers that I'd be interested in this week, Samuel Ellis returned last week, $8,800. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. Keyshawn Johnson still was very productive last week. He's at $9,500. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him as well. And then Tommy Neal, who's played really well for them so far this season. $6,300 GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. You know, if Keon Schaefer-Baker is out this week once again, then maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field. You know, if you want to go out there and get some exposure to Dante Myers or Aju, you can definitely do that at the same time as well, especially on the 3-game slate. And then we move down the Roughriders defense. They're all the way up at $4,500. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on them, maybe ever so slightly underweight to the field, and that's mainly just due to that price tag. And then we're going to move down to the Redblacks. We got Drew Brown at quarterback. He's $9,700. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. Not too much to be said here. I think he's a decent play. I don't think there's any reason to be kind of over or underweight to him this week just in general. And at running back, we got William Stanback. Was limited practice on Monday, but was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to the back injury that did keep him out of their most recent game. And he is technically listed as available for this week's game. So he should be back this week. Not really too interested in those running backs for this Redblacks team at this point in time. Then we're going to move down to wide receivers. Pretty much the 4 guys we looked at all year for the Redblacks. So Braylon Addison, Justin Hardy, Eugene Lewis, Khalil Pimbleton, all kind of GPP options, probably going to be in line with the field. We're pretty close to it on all 4 of them. If you want to make a major stand on any one of them this week, definitely do understand that at the same time as well. And then if you want to get a little bit cuter with the 3-game main slate, you can go down to Devonta Dedmon as kind of a paydown option as their primary returner. Or if you want to get a little bit of exposure to Keelan Wade at $4,000, you can definitely do that at the same time as well. And then we move down to Redblacks defense. They're all the way down to $3,500, so they are a viable paydown option. Probably going to be in line with the field on them, maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field just because of that cheap price tag at this point in time. Then we're going to move down to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We got Bo Levi Mitchell at quarterback. He's at $10,000. GPP option, probably going to be slightly underweight to the field on him. Price tag is still very much up there at this point in time. He's been a little bit down last couple games, so that is a little bit of a concern. That's kind of why I'm underweight to him, but we definitely do like his upside at the same time as well. And then at running back, we got Greg Bell, who's been playing really, really well as of late, and he's up to $9,200 at this point in time. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him once again. And then we have Johnny Augustine behind him. He's at $3,500, and he was limited practice on Tuesday, but was able to practice in full on Wednesday due to a quad injury. We'll see whether or not he's back this week or not, but either way, not too interested in playing him this week overall. In terms of those Tiger Cats wide receivers, looking at Kenny Lawler, Keandre Smith, and Tim White once again, all as kind of GPP options. Probably going to be in line with the field on all three of them once again. This is another spot if you want to make a major stand on one of those wide receivers, you can definitely do that, especially on the smaller slate this week. If you want to get to like Shamar Bridges, Brendan O'Leary, Orange, you could definitely do that at the same time as well. But I don't really like the volume they receive most of the season and at their respective price tags, but there could be some upside to be had there, especially with it being a little bit smaller slate just in general. And then we move down to Tiger Cats defense there at $4,200. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on them. It is a decent matchup going against the Toronto Argonauts, especially if Nick Arbuckle is a little bit more limited with that calf injury once again. And then we move down to Toronto Argonauts team. So we got Nick Arbuckle at quarterback, $10,400. GPP option, I do technically have him listed as in line with the field, maybe ever so slightly underweight to the field with his limitations with that calf injury. Was limited in practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, but I do still expect him to play once again this week. If he is out for whatever reason, you're probably looking at Jared Dagey at quarterback. And would not be interested in him at quarterback, but definitely would be interested in that Tiger Cats defense at that point in time. In terms of the running back position, I'm not too interested in Deontay McMahon or Spencer Brown, but if you want to roll them out, you can definitely do that as well. And then Maya Williams, who's been on that 6-game injured list, was able to practice in a limited capacity on Wednesday. Probably not going to be back this week, but it is something to monitor, especially as we do get that final injury report from this team at the same time as well. Then we move down to the wide receivers for this Argonauts team. I have Kevin Meidel, who is $8,000. This is a GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. Then we have Jake Herzlow, who's been great as of late, $9,900 GPP option. Slightly overweight to the field on him. He's just been really good as of late, so it's kind of hard not to play him at this point in time, especially on the smaller slate. And then Makai Polk, who I definitely do like his upside with, not coming off the strongest week, $7,600. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field, maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field on him this week just in general. And then David Unger, the third, $4,100, was limited practice on Wednesday due to knee injury, so that is something we will monitor, especially as we do get closer to lock. So if you want to play him, if you want to play DeWanda Brissett, you can definitely do that as well. It's kind of leverage plays, but I would mainly stick to the three main wide receivers for the Toronto Argonauts at this point in time. Then we move down to the Argonauts defense. They're $3,800 GPP option. Slightly overweight to the field on them this week. They could be considered maybe even a cash game defense overall. Definitely do like their upside going against the Tiger Cats team, especially if they are able to stop the run in this matchup. Then we move down to Stampeders. We got Vernon Adams Jr. at quarterback, $9,800. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field. Not too much to be said here. He's probably a quarterback that's going to go a little bit under the radar this week. So if you want to be ever so slightly overweight to the field, you can definitely do that at the same time as well. At running back, Dedrick Mills, $7,500. I have him listed as a potential cash game option, slightly overweight to the field on him once again this week. So definitely do like his upside, especially at that cheaper price tag compared to other similar running backs. And then behind him, we have Jayshawn Ante at $2,500. Was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to head injury, so it appears that he'll likely be back this week, but he hasn't really done too much for this team overall this season. Moving down to the wide receivers, we got Tevin Jones, $5,800. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him once again this week. Jalen Philpott at $7,000. GPP option, slightly overweight to the field on him. Maybe even a cash game play if you want to roll him out in that setting this week. And then we have Dominic Rhines at $6,600. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. He's been drawing the targets as of late, so a relatively safe play there at the same time as well. And then Malik Henry at $2,500, who's yet to make his season debut, was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday due to his knee surgery recovery. So we'll see whether or not he's good to go for this matchup. Otherwise, it should be pretty soon that we will see him back. And then for that Stampeders defense, $3,600 pay down option. Slightly underweight to the field just because this is a tougher matchup against the BC Lions, but they do have an attractive price tag at that. Then we move down to a BC Lions team. We got Nathan Rourke at quarterback, $11,500. I have him listed as a GPP option. Probably going to be in line with the field on him once again this week. Definitely does have the highest upside of any of these quarterbacks. So if you want to get there, definitely do understand that once again. Maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field, but we'll see where his ownership ultimately does end up coming in at. James Butler, running back, is $8,800. GPP option in line with the field. However, I will say if we do get news that Xander Horvath is moving back over to the practice squad, we'll be slightly overweight to James Butler at that point in time. But he hasn't been limited in practice all week, so it does look like he should be full go this week just in general after they ended up splitting carries in their most recent game. Then we move down to the wide receivers, and I have Stanley Berryhill, Keon Hatcher, and Justin McInnis, all listed as GPP options. Probably give me in line with the field on all three of them. If I had to make a stand this week, it might be Keon Hatcher, maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field, although Justin McInnis has played really well as of late. And then in terms of injury news, Javon Gatoy was limited practice once again on Tuesday and Wednesday due to that ankle injury. And if he's unable to log a full practice once again on Thursday, probably looking like he'll be out once again this week. And then last but not least, we have that BC Lions defense there at $4,400 GPP option, but I am underweight to the field on them this week. I don't love the price tag of them. It's not the greatest matchup in the world, so if you want to play them, you can, but it is not something that I am personally recommending for this week. And last but not least, we do have three teams on the bye this week, and that's going to be the Montreal Alouettes, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the Edmonton Elks. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on my CFL DFS sheet for Week 18. If you have any other additional questions related to CFL DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then once again, I'll be listing all the depth charts as they do come out throughout the week, as well as any other major news that does come out. Anything else beyond that will be updated on this sheet over on Patreon. If that's something you're interested in, very small monthly donation, you get access to my CFL DFS sheets for a month, as well as my NFL player pools and NFL snap count spreadsheets. So definitely a great resource just in general. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or if you have to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have my CFL DFS video coming out once a week, typically on Wednesdays, and then I do have my NFL DFS core pick video coming out once a week as well. That's either going to come out on Friday or Saturday. It's going to vary a little bit week to week. This week is looking a little bit more like Friday, so definitely be on the lookout for that at the same time as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS and PrizePicks. If you're a brand new user to either one of those sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you'll get a first match deposit bonus. For PrizePicks, it's a 100% match up to $100, and then for BetUS, it's a 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for this week's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in CFL DFS for Week 18.